All right. Well, we've got a big one to talk about, and it has been a big week when it comes to DE and I. And I use these terms and I forget, not everybody is a DEI person. What is that? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay. I will tell you right now, this is one of the hottest topics going. And we're going to talk a lot about competitive victimization. What is that? How does this work to escalate hate? And I mean hate all around the world. I mean wars. Okay? And which I don't know if this is worse, it's probably the same thing, but how it divides ourselves. As long as we are fighting amongst each other, nothing good's going to happen. Let me say that again. As long as we are fighting among ourselves, nothing's going to happen. And I will tell you, with not all DEI people, I've got some DEI people who are as adamant as I am at reforming it. But the one thing I have discovered is if you talk about reforming it to a lot of DEI folks and a lot of DEI organizations, they will just shut you out. And if you go public, like I did, you get canceled. And that means you have been executed. Oh, Scott Freehafer, welcome. All right. We got some university folks here, so give us some good enlightenment. A house divided cannot stand. Absolutely. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and I mean a lot of stuff to talk about. All right, so you can always chat me up, and that's why you see me going back and forth like this. I'm not a bobblehead. It is not because I got something better going on over here. I'm trying to look at your chats, okay? Because some of you don't have a microphone. I want you to participate. I want you to participate. And you can always give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Hit your little reaction button out there. And I'm going to send a heart up there because my Buckeyes won this week. Yay. Okay. I have a lot of new gear coming that I will put in my office somewhere. Okay. So we got that. And open, Danielle, there you go. Okay. Go Bucks. Now I will tell you right now, open your mic. If you are able and willing, open your mic. Open your mic. We want to hear what you're thinking about things out there. All right, so if you got something to say, I want to hear it. You are not going to throw me. I make this stuff up as I go along. See, you probably think this is all planned, right? I mean, Scott's got this planned. I mean, not so much. I put together my slides, have a point to different things, and I will tell you, in my programs, I want you to walk away with something every time. Every time. And I got a question. Great question. I can't come today. I know. That happens with a lot of folks. You get busy. Okay. This recording is always going to be posted online, and I'll show you where. So you got plenty of ways to participate today, and I see a lot of my fair fellow members out here, so that is just great. I want you to join FAIR. I want you to join Make Ohio Fair, and there's your link down there. It is free. It is free, and we are dedicated to humans, all humans. This is the message you will hear today that got me executed. And I'll tell you more about my week. It was absolutely so great. I went to the game. Then I had an appointment with my son in Washington. We went there and then back home. Okay. Then amazingly, I got a dagger in my heart. And we'll talk about that. Why? Because I spoke out. I spoke out. Well, FAIR Foundation Against Intolerance and Racism says everyone's entitled to an opinion. We do better when it's all of us together. And if you go to the fair's website, you will see a wonderful mix of all kinds of people. It is just like a football team. See, I'm going to be on that message here all day, okay? All day. Now, think about this. Do you need big 340 pound guys to play football? Wait a minute, do you need a football team? Do you need some big guys? Anybody have an opinion on that?
As long as they're not running back or wide receiver.
There you go. Now, wouldn't you like to see that? You got a 340
Not really.
pound lineman, 6'8", catching a ball and run. Don't I need those skinny guys with arms that will catch anything thrown 5 or 10 feet around them? Don't you need, oh, there you go. 6'9", 365 pound son. Whoa, Kathy. Whoa, there you go. That is what fair is. That is what diversity is supposed to be. And I will tell you, I have been talking to a lot of DEI folks this week, and it just makes me feel so good. That support is wonderful. And they said, oh my God, exactly what you said was going to happen, happened. President Trump canceled DEI throughout the entire federal system. I said, yeah. Did you not know? Did you not hear? Well, a lot of organizations did not hear me. And so a lot of organizations, I'll tell you see them right now. They're changing the name from DEI to inclusion, to belonging, to da. But you know what? Everything remains the same. Everything remains the same. We have to work together. All right. And that's what FAIR is. So you go to fairforall.org/Ohio, sign up. It's free. And we honestly want to make the world better. Now, having said that, you can see the upcoming podcast schedule. There's a little banner right there, Make Ohio Fair. It'll take you to exactly what's coming up. And if you want to listen to the previous podcasts, I wanted to put this plug in there because everybody's busy. Okay. How many people you got all the time in the world? You had nothing to do this morning? Probably drank some coffee, drank some tea, sat down, played some game on your phone, then came to the podcast. Is anybody in that boat? No, you're busy. So these are always going to be recorded. I want you to listen to them. You can always listen to them again. And I am going to put the handout there. All right, so you will have the handout. I want you to always have these. I want you to show these to your CEO, to your COO, all of those types of things. And I'll tell you right now, I am knee deep working with FAIR, knee deep. And I have been, killing myself putting together a 20 module intolerance of intolerance video program, re-engineering diversity. It's all the things we're talking about in here. See, the problem is President Trump, and I understand why he did this. I mean, quite frankly, we'll talk more about suicide rates and what is happening across America to cancel it. Okay, now here's the issue. People cancel their DEI because there's nothing else. What else do I do? Okay, no. I want diversity, just like a football team, just like FAIR. I'll tell you, you have absolutely got to go look at FAIR's website and see everything that we've got. And Ohio Fair. Okay, so it's a free commercial. We need your support. Okay, so we're working on that as we speak. The next planning session for Ohio Fair is going to be January 31st, a week from today. We had a wonderful meeting. Okay, a lot of you were sitting in on that meeting. I sent the summary of all the notes. We got all kinds of ideas as to what you want to do with this organization. It's our organization. We've got some speakers lined up who are just, I think, going to be phenomenal. Thank you, Kathy, for your email about Eric. And we've got some other folks who are going to be coming on with their perspective on things. We have some suggestions for, should we take a field trip? Should we take a field trip and go look at these impoverished areas? Should we go look at things so we understand how other people live in this state? And I got news for you. If you live in Appalachia, Ohio, maybe in a bad area, can you really relate to what's happening on the inner city? Those are all human beings, and they should all be valued. Okay, so yeah, our next planning session is January 31st. If you have signed up for FAIR, you will get an invite. If you can come, that's great. And I will post or send out the notes from that meeting. So we're in the planning stages. Right now we're doing these webinars, but we want to make it whatever you want. We want to make Ohio and the world better. All right. And here we go. Now, I'm putting this in here today because if you missed the employment law update from December of 2024, guess what? That truck is coming around one more time. It's going to be February 7th, so about 2 or 3 weeks, Friday. And if you go to my website, you can sign up for that, and I'll shoot you all hot links for this. The reason I'm bringing this up here is about, of the 6 hours, a full day of employment law, 1 hour or so, 45 minutes, is going to be dedicated to American Airlines. Now, think about this. Do you see why America is torn? In 2024, American Airlines got nailed by the Office of Federal Contract Compliance, OFCCP. Well, what was American Airlines doing? They were giving preferential treatment to minorities in hirings. And I don't just mean minorities, I mean people who are Black. Now, that's illegal. That's illegal. Let me give you a good one here. How many people, you've worked at employers, or maybe you know of employers where there are mentoring programs or training programs or whatever specifically to help minorities? Anybody aware of those programs? Yeah, getting a few folks. Okay, because Mark Cuban testified before Congress that he encourages those. Those are illegal. Those are illegal. So we're going to have a lot of discussion as to how employers are dropping like flies. Illegal that they think are helping people. So we're going to look at that. All right. Now, let's look at Scott Freehaver gave us a great comment here. You can't win any game, even an infinite game, Simon Sinek, unless you work together and appreciate one another's differences. If everyone on the OSU Buckeyes was averaged out, so everyone was the same height, the same weight, the same ability, the same everything, we wouldn't win. We wouldn't win. Absolutely. And that's the way it is in life. Now, let's get off to the races here. And I want your comments on this. We are all human beings. What do you think? Those of you, give me a hands up or a nod or something. How many people think we're all human beings? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why would we do anything against a cousin? Because don't forget, we're all related. Now, do you agree? No one should be attacked, bullied, discriminated against, or stereotyped. Is that true? Is that true? Okay, that message got me executed. I'll tell you right now, I have been told point blank, when I mentioned to a DEI person right here in Ohio, when I said, we are all human beings. We should treat each other like brothers and sisters. That's what is missing from your DEI. You know what I was told point blank? I was told, no, no, we should not treat each other like humans because that takes away from the disproportional impact against minorities. Yeah, did you hear that right? How many people think that's bad? That I should treat these people better than other people? Yes, yes, getting lots of, yeah, there we go. Okay, I agree. And that got me killed. How many people agree? One person is equal to one person. One black man is equal to one white man. One white female is equal to one Asian female. One human being is equal to one human being, regardless of color, regardless of wealth, regardless of whatever. How many people? Yes, yes. I will tell you right now, let me tip my hand. If you look at somebody and they're hungry, they're poor, they're homeless, they're being bullied, if you are concerned about the race of that person, you're a racist. You're a racist because that's what Nazis do. Phoenix, hey, Phoenix, so good. Yeah, good to see you. I think in the book Animal Farm, they said all animals are equal, but then some are more equal than others. Yes, that's right from the playbook. Okay, now let's get off to the races here. I learned competitive. Oh, yeah, Linda, thank you. Most people turn their head and go on. Linda, absolutely. Linda, you shoot me your mailing address and you pick the book you want. I recommend the Tolerance and Diversity for White Guys and Other Human Beings book. I wanted to include white people who are male and female, and that got me in a lot of trouble. Okay, so no, I love the comments here. Yeah, you cannot turn your head because you're just as bad as the person who did it. You're an enabler. That's how Jerry Sandusky got away with raping little boys for 40 years. And we will have a show on that a little later. Okay, this is good stuff. I am doing this in the early 2000s, my Intolerance of Intolerance program. And I said, look, we are so focused on this person or that group of people. Let me tell you, it is hard to find anybody who has been abused more than the Native Americans. 97.5% of all the Native Americans in this country were wiped out. Some because we shot and killed them. Others, we starved them. Others, we gave them blankets that we knew were laced with smallpox. And they had no resistance. Okay. And I then said this. I said, so if you look at what's happened to the Native Americans in this country, well, quite frankly, the Holocaust was a walk in the park. Now, freeze right there. I thought I was making a good point. I thought, okay, this is a tragedy. What happened to the Native Americans? It's a tragedy what happened to the Jews. And it wasn't just Jews, 6 million Jews. But it was the trade unionists. It was the gays. It was a whole host of people who were murdered. Actually, the socialists and the trade unionists and the communists were the first ones in the camps. Now, think what I said. Compared to the Holocaust, compared to the Native Americans, Holocaust was a walk in the park. Now, Cynthia Ebner, she is now a municipal court judge here in Columbus, Ohio. That's her on the far right. She's holding a picture of her dad as a young man. Okay, Murray Ebner, and his book is out there. A nice read. She actually was so gracious. She sent me a video on this that they shot. She came up to me. Now think how she approaches me. She comes up to me and she says, I understand what you're trying to show. You're trying to bring all people together, but you really shouldn't say that any type of tragedy is a walk in the park. Because one person is equal to one person. If one Jew is killed in the Holocaust, then one Native American shot by a soldier is equal. I never thought of it that way. It changed my life. It changed my life. People say and do things not because they want to be evil. They say and do what they say because because that's what they believe. That's what they believe. And let me tell you right now, if you remember our subconscious bias program, which you can always go back and listen to, it's posted there. The way you think wires your brain. So the people you hang around wires your brain. The people who tell me that I'm evil because I'm white, that I am guilty, that tell me, and this happens all the time, well, we're not going to hire you, you're white. Ohio Department of Commerce told me, oh no, we have to hire a black person to do the training and not you, because that's fair. That happens all the time. They say things like that because that's what they believe. That is killing DEI, and it's going to get worse. Okay, Scott's giving us another good one here. Or they are ignorant and do not think. They just repeat what they've heard. Absolutely. Now, let's look at this, okay? Competitive victimization. Oh, my people have had it worse than anybody else. The Holocaust was the worst thing ever to happen. So don't tell me that somebody else has it rough. Don't tell me. You don't know what it's like to be Jewish, to be whatever. Now, I always love that because I don't know what it's like to be Jewish. Okay, you know my wife is half Hebrew, right? You do know that my wife's family had to escape Russia in 1917 or get killed by the Bolsheviks. My sons are a quarter Hebrew. Okay, well, that's enough. That's enough. They would not be friends of the Nazis. So, oh, these people have had it terrible. They did. That is true. But then I hear, oh, yeah, but that's nothing compared to what the Native Americans went through. 97%, 97.5%, okay, were killed. Do you know today that in the 2020 census, Native Americans make up such a small percentage of the people in America that they are not a significant group? They're not considered a significant population. So they got a point. Oh, we don't serve Mexicans or Spanish. Now, this is an actual sign that used to hang. Okay, now think about this. Has anybody ever experienced some sort of discrimination or harassment or bullying against someone who is Latino or Mexican or Spanish? Anybody ever see that? Is that okay? Okay, go back to where I'm saying. One person is equal to one person. And what are you being taught that I hear all across the country, and especially here in Ohio? What do I hear? Oh no, it's okay to discriminate against these people over here because this group over here has had it so bad. Oh my. Now let's try another group on for size. You think I'm ever going to run out of groups? Do you think I'm ever going to run out of somebody to hate? Now you see this picture? You history buffs are going to know what this is right away. Does anybody know what this is? There's a book in it for you. Anybody know what is happening to these people right here? American citizens. Does anybody know? What is happening? Japanese camps. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Yeah, that was in California. Yes, yes, Jamma. Absolutely. All three of you there. You win a book. You shoot me an email, I'll send you a book. Okay, so, oh, I need your mailing address. That's why I'm saying that. See that little tag on that little boy? That tag brands him as a traitor. What is he, 3? 2.5? He's a traitor. For whom the bell tolls. Oh, Kevin, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That pendulum's going to swing, isn't it? When I see this happening to a little Japanese boy, what would keep someone from one day take my sons? Because they're half Hebrew. Who knows? Absolutely. And here we go, gays. Anybody here have a relative or a friend who is homosexual? You know, seeing the hands all over. Yep, getting the hands up. Absolutely. Anybody recognize Matthew Shepard? Matthew Shepard in Wyoming, little, 5'4". These rednecks or whatever they were, I don't know what you want to call them, Nazis, whatever, took him out to a split rail fence, tied him up, and smacked him in the head over a dozen times because he was gay. Okay, that happened in our lifetime. Now, freeze right here because I'm going to say something really, really offensive. I'm going to say something terribly, terribly offensive. So don't send me more death threats, okay? Really, you know, my cat doesn't like those. Okay, can anybody tell me, what is a faggot? What's the Webster's dictionary definition of a faggot? What is it? It was a cigarette. There you go, Annette. Thank you, thank you. Absolutely, it is. And what else is it? It is a pile of wood to be burned. Oh, absolutely. Bundles of sticks. Now, I want you to listen. Where do we get that term? Because back in the mid-centuries, 15, 1600, something like this, if they found out that you were gay, they would take you down, drag you down to the center of town and beat you to death, which would be the equivalent today of baseball bats. Horrific. And we look at the people who lived back then like they were animals. Have we changed? Anybody who's seen my podcast, you know, the human animal has not evolved at all. Now, that's one guy. Isn't that equal to one Native American? I think it is. And I get chastised and ripped apart every single time that I say that. No, my group's had it worse. Oh, does anybody know why we have so many Chinese restaurants and laundries in this country? Does anybody know why? There's actually is a reason for that, and it's not a stereotype. Because to build our railroads, we let all the Chinese workers in, let them in, and we gave them the most dangerous job. Working on the railroads, killed a lot of them. They fell. They got blown up. This is where you get the expression that you don't have a Chinaman's chance. That's where we get that. Because the chances you were going to die were really good. Then in the late 1800s, we decided, man, we got a lot of Chinese here. We got too many Chinese. I don't really know what that means. We got too many Chinese. So let's throw them out of the country. Get them out. Send them back. They did all this work for us. Get them out. Except if you have a Chinese restaurant or a laundry. Because we really like Chinese food, apparently. Okay. Does that sound bizarre? And to this day, 130 years later, that's why you have so many Chinese restaurants in this country. Why? Because you could stay in the country. And we treated these people horribly. And of course, civil rights. How many people lived through the 60s and 70s and you remember civil rights protests? You remember that? Oh, absolutely. I grew up in Newark, Ohio, which is properly pronounced Nurkaha. That's where I grew up, Nurkaha. Okay? And I will tell you, I remember white and colored signs. I remember in my grandpa's office as a 6 and 7, 8-year-old boy flipping through the multiple listing service for real estate and looking up in the upper right-hand corner. And there was a W or a C for a house that was being sold. Okay, can anybody tell me what that W or C stood for? Another test question for you. Anybody know? W and C. Younger folks?
White or
Never
colored?
saw that. White or colored. Thank you, Scott. And look at the chat. We got white and colored, white and colored, white and... That was in my lifetime. It was wrong. It was wrong. Now, my group had it worse than you. This is like arguing over who is the best horse in the glue factory. It is a ridiculous conversation. Why? Because one person's pain is equal to one person's pain. If you are black and you see this happen to a white person, you should be angry and you should put an end to it, because that boomerang is coming back to you. It's coming back to you. We always find somebody to hate. I'll tell you, I put this together as a bizarre example, but you spin the wheel of hate. Isn't this true throughout history? It's the Italians' turn. Then it's the Irish turn. You know that when you came, back when my family came over from Ireland, okay, that you were classified as not being white. But if you earned enough money, you could go to court, show that you had a job and earned enough money, and the court could declare you white. How many people think that is about as dumb as a Monty Python skit? That is stupid, stupid, stupid. And our court system used to do that in this country. You see why we're all in this together? Now it's Caitlyn Jenner's turn. Oh, it's the Mexicans' turn. It was the Muslims' turn for what? No. Now, let me ask you how this competitive victimization happens. That I'm not concerned with you. And actually, there is acceptable bigotry because of this. And what is acceptable bigotry? If you called somebody, hey, boomer, would you get disciplined at work? Would you be in trouble? Probably not. Probably not. If you said all white men are always in a position of power and they're all privileged, would you be in trouble for that? If you said all white people are guilty, it is perfectly fine to illegally discriminate against a white male because of what has happened to blacks in our history. That is a quote that I got directly from the Ohio Department of Education. Okay, you kind of see that pendulum swinging back? You don't want a pendulum swinging to the right, and you don't want it swinging to the left. We want it in the center. How do people react when you attack them? Does anybody know? How do they react? Yeah, they smack you. They smack you right back. Scott gave us another great example. And the banks practice redlining, and the same house is sometimes appraised for more or less money based on your race and the photos you have on your wall, all of which perpetuates and institutionalizes racism. Absolutely, Scott. Absolutely. Okay. So if you, this is just common sense. When you punch Bozo in the face and you're that little devil attacker over there, what's Bozo going to do? You punch him in the face. What's that punching bag going to do? Come right back at you, right? So what do we do as humans? Hit him harder. He got back up. Hit him harder. What does Bozo do then? Comes back harder. Okay. Now think about this. I don't care what your religion is, but I will tell you, didn't Jesus put it correct? Always hit him in the other cheek. Isn't that great? Is that what Jesus said? I always love this because I run into people who are really good Christians. And what do? Get them back. Get them back. Okay. Now, you know, this is my warped sense of humor, my sarcastic sense. No, this, even if you are not Christian, this is good advice. This is good practical advice. It's not, even if you don't believe in divinity, you turn the other cheek. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you. You turn the other, why? Because if you always hit them back, I hit you in the face. So what are you going to do? Oh, I got to hit you back right here. I got to top what you do. Then you're going to top this because how dare you treat me the way I treat you, and up and up and up and up. And it ends in severe violence. Okay, I have done dozens, and you go the extra mile. Thank you, Scott. And that's not just religious advice. That makes sense. That makes sense because humans will get you back. Diana, take the high road and lead by example. You are so correct. Okay, but what do we do today? Oh no, it's okay to do this against white males. Okay, it's fine to do this against blacks. It's fine to do this. No, if you strike my black brother, that boomerang is going to come back at me. That's what happens. Now, right here, this is Charlottesville, Virginia. Unite the right. This is where the Nazi drove the car through the crowd and killed a woman and injured a bunch of other folks. You probably remember this, a lot of you. There's a couple points here. First of all, I live in Ohio. I travel to a lot of your states where you are. Hello, Oregon. Yeah, you have some good times out there. Let me tell you right now, the guy who drove the car through the crowd was a Nazi, and he was from Ohio. Ohio ranks 6th in the number of hate groups in this country. California is 1st. They win. Florida is 2nd. I thought people mellowed a little bit when they got over. Apparently not. Okay. Texas is 3rd. New York is 4th. Pennsylvania is 5th. And we're 6th. We have a lot of haters here. Okay. And you want to know something? All of this organized, illegal, and stereotype training that we are getting from so many HR and DEI organizations. How do people react? How do white people react when you smack them? They smack you back. Do you know that in 1999, we had 457 hate groups in this country, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center? 457. What do we have now in 2024? Almost 1,500. They've tripled. You see what I'm saying? Depending on who happens to be in power, they're going to react. We need to see the pendulum in the middle here. And I'll tell you, I look at this picture. Can anybody tell me who all these people are, which side they're on? Are they Nazis or are they Antifa? Can they tell the difference? No. No. Choose your enemies well, because they become just like you. And I'll hear, well, yeah, but they attacked me. I will tell you right now, I have studied a lot of different fighting styles because I'm a towering 5'6". So I better have some skill. What do you do when somebody attacks you? You back up. You back up. You back up. Okay? No, you're just as bad. And I will tell you, Frank Mink, who we're going to try to get on the show, he was the subject matter for American History X. He said, as a Nazi, as a neo-Nazi, he never once thought to himself, when somebody's throwing rocks at him or yelling at him, he never thought, gee, I got to rethink my choices. No, someone's attacking you. So you tell me, someone's attacking you, they're attacking your group. What does that do to the group? If you attack a bunch of Nazis, attack them. What will they do? Common sense, human behavior. You smack them in the face, what's going to happen? You're going to fight back. Thank you, Danielle. And Scott Freehaker gave us a great comment earlier about Ohio State losing to Michigan. That might have been the best thing that ever happened to them. You know why? Because it pulled them together. Pulls them together. A common enemy. Absolutely. Don't hit them back. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. That's true. Here we are, a few hundred years later, we're still quoting Newton. That is his third law of motion. Every action that you put out into the universe has an opposite and equal reaction. Absolutely. That is what I call boomerang bigotry. That's really competitive victimization. If I throw a boomerang of hate at someone who is a Native American, then guess what? Someone who is maybe Asian is going to pick up that boomerang and throw it back at me. Okay? Let me tell you, just welcome to my world. There is not a month that goes by for the last several years where someone doesn't tell me, I read your book, I heard your presentations, we would love to have you come in and do our safety training, creating a safe environment or tolerance, but we have to hire someone who's Black. That happens to be all the time. And I've been told point blank, you can't apply for these contracts with the state of Ohio because it has to be someone who is Black. That is boomerang bigotry. Are you seeing the boomerang come back at you now that a whole new political party is in power? That is what happens. Okay, what do we have to do? I'm not going to argue over who the best horse is in the glue factory. Yeehaw, you win. Would you win? Okay, we have to acknowledge how inclusion benefits everyone. From a very selfish perspective, I want to include all of my Black brothers and sisters, all of my disabled brothers and sisters, all the older people, all the younger people. I'm not just going to focus on minorities or outside the mainstream. I was told in 2024, point blank, by a DEI organization right here in Columbus that, oh no, we are going to focus on racism this year, and that does not apply to straight white males. Yeah, I am not kidding. And I got that in writing. Oh no. See, why do people say things like that? Because they believe it. We should come together as fellow humans and work and solve our problems. Right there. Freeze right there. How many people agree with that? We should all come together as fellow humans and work together to solve our problems. How many people agree with that? Wouldn't things be so much better for all of us? So first of all, competitive victimization escalates hate. No, I've never done a sexual or illegal harassment investigation. Well, maybe one or two. But 95% of all of the investigations I've done, everybody's in trouble because of boomerang bigotry, because of competitive victimization. If I do something to you, I'm just a common bigot, I do something to you, or a pervert, I do something to you, that other person is probably not going to come to me and try to work it out, is probably not going to go to human resources and try to work it out, and you get you back. I'm going to get you back. And so what do? Well, I'm a child, so what do? I get you back and top it. Next person does this and this and this and this and this. After I do my investigation, I find out everybody's hands are dirty. Okay, who did it? Everybody did it. It's like murder on the Orient Express. Yeah, welcome to preschool. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, Scott Freehafer has another great one for us. Gandhi did not fight back by striking back. He fought the British by practicing nonviolence, and he eventually won. He frustrated the heck out of the British. Absolutely. That is David Thoreau's philosophy. Anybody's not familiar with Henry David Thoreau, Walden Pond, civil disobedience. Who gave it to Gandhi? Who gave it to Martin Luther King? Who changed the world? Okay, now, what also happens is nothing gets done. Nothing good happens. Let me tell you, I was lucky enough, and I'm going to brag about them a little bit. I usually don't brag about my former law firms, but I worked at Bricker and Eckler right out of law school. 1996, I came in as an associate, and I was working there. The Ohio Supreme Court was going to hear this case called DeRolf 1, and that is Nathan DeRolf, the subject of the case, 15-year-old freshman in Johnstown, Ohio. Okay, what's the case about? Okay, now let me just ask a question. How many people in here think that every Ohioan child deserves a good education? Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have an education, do you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to prison. Oh, look at all the hands. Everybody get a good look at that. Oh, it's wonderful. Yes. And I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care. You deserve a good education. And Ohio's Constitution said everybody is entitled to an equal and fair education. That's what it said. Well, that isn't happening. Because if you live in some place like Upper Arlington, or if you live in New Albany, believe me, you got lots of money for a good education. And without money, you ain't getting anything. That's that simple. Well, I was working on this case. I got to work on this case. We had kids in Ohio in 1996 who were using history books that said, one day we will put a man on the moon. Whoa. Does anybody know what year we put a man on the moon? That'd be 1969. Okay, right? Oh my gosh. And those are your books. There were gym floors with holes in them. Okay. So I'm working on this case. And the case was actually brought forth by the Ohio Coalition for Equity and Adequacy of School Funding. Great organization. They hired the firm I worked for, and a wonderful lawyer by the name of Nick Pittner was heading up the case. Well, I was doing the research and everything, and I saw the bills going out. This is a $1 million case for attorneys. So I go and I talk to one of the people from the coalition, and I said, you know, I'm really an HR guy who knows the law really, really, really well. The law is a weapon. A lot of problems with using the law. Now, it's expensive, first of all. Why didn't we take this money and try to build a coalition of poor people? You know, like Martin Luther King did. That worked. That worked. Freeze right there. You know how successful? I don't think most people don't look at the data. I'm a big data nerd. I'm a big data nerd. And do you know that it's really a tragedy? So redlining, Jim Crow laws, all those types of things where you couldn't even get a job. In 1959, 55% of all of the Black people in this country lived at or below the poverty level. Everybody getting that? 55% of my brothers and sisters. Now, is that boomerang going to come back at me one day? Do you see why that boomerang is coming back to me and killing me? Okay. So we passed the Civil Rights Act. Redlining is eliminated. All these types of things. And you know how that worked? Because Jewish people, Asian people, white people, Black people, the decent people, 80%, 70% of all the decent people in this country came together and demanded legal change, institutional change. And in 2024, do you know what percentage of all the Blacks in this country lived in poverty? 15%. 15% in my lifetime. Now, we're not there. I will never say that we're there. I want no one living in poverty. I want no one living without food. But you see what happens when we come together. Now, you know what this guy told me? He said, we tried that. Did you hear me? We tried bringing a poor people's movement. We tried bringing the whites, the Blacks, the Asians, the Native Americans, everybody together. But it didn't work. And you know why it didn't work? Because they wouldn't stop fighting amongst themselves. They would not stop saying, well, my group has it worse than your group. I'm worse off than you are. You are worse off. I'm worse off. What difference does it make? Diversity doesn't mean I'm against somebody else. That's what it has become. Inclusion means everybody come together and we'll all be stronger. And if you look at the comments here, Scott Freehafer hit it on the head. Even back then, I knew, a lot of things can happen in politics, the law. The powers that be simply ignored what the Supreme Court said, and they did it long enough that the legislature and the Ohio Supreme Court just gave up. That is exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. Okay, DeRolf won. My law firm won this case. Nick Pittner made the argument, we won. And so now the Ohio Supreme Court said, Ohio legislature, you have to redistrict. You got to take all the money that goes to schools like from Shaker Heights, from Johnstown, Ohio, from Nurkaha, from Zanesville, Ohio, to New Albany. It's all going to go into a pot, and it's got to be distributed back so that all of our children have an education. What a great day. What a great day. And you know what the powers that be at the legislature said? Up yours. Yeah, up yours. We're not going to do it. This is exactly when President Jackson, Andrew Jackson, ordered the Trail of Tears, rounded up all the Native Americans and made them march to Oklahoma. The United States Supreme Court said you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. And Andrew Jackson said, well, yeah, but I've got the army. I don't have to follow your rules. That is exactly what we did in Ohio. So the law firm went back. 2000, won again. 2001, won again. 2002, won again. But this time the Ohio Supreme Court got tired of it. And they said, you know, we really can't make them do anything. We don't have an army. We can't make the legislature do anything. So guess what? We're going to say that this is not a judicial issue. Would they go back to? This is a voting issue. This is exactly what the coalition started with years before. Everyone should come together in a poor people's march. And that can't happen because we don't have Martin Luther King anymore. And I don't know who would lead it. People kept fighting amongst themselves. Kathy, yeah, as Vinton County High School graduate, I know what it's like graduating from the poorest school system in the state. Yes, that should have been fixed 20 years ago. So just to fill you up here, in 2003, the Ohio Supreme Court ruled that even though Ohio's system for financing its public schools is unconstitutional, the duty to fix the problem lies with the legislature. Neither the Ohio Supreme Court nor any other court in Ohio has any jurisdiction over the matter of school funding. The long-running DeRolf case and the fight for education equality in Ohio was over. Could you imagine what our schools would be like 20 years later if we were able to distribute the wealth like they do in other states? And I will tell you right now, Ohio's correctional system, rehabilitation and corrections, they determine how many prisons to build for the next 20 years, depending on the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade proficiency scores. If you can't read by that point, you're probably going to prison. You're probably going to be a felon. Now, at that time, there were 400,000 children living at or below the poverty level in Ohio. 400,000. If you care about the race of that child, you're a racist. To care about the race of that child is racist. And that is why we couldn't get anything done. So you see, competitive victimization escalates hate. And it keeps us from meeting our goals. We are all stronger when we work together. Okay, so just tell you what's happened to me this week. I got back. President Trump signed the DEI ban on January 21st for all the federal agencies and contractors. That went into place. On that same day, I got a letter. A letter was signed by SHRM, sending it to me, and I have been canceled. I cannot give SHRM credits anymore. You spoke up. You told the world. Now, I wasn't given a reason. I have called and asked. I've written and asked for a reason. Nothing. 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 Is that what we should be doing? And I'll tell you right now, I'm right. I told you the pendulum was going to swing. That boomerang bigotry was going to come back against DEI, and it was going to get canceled. And that is exactly what happened. I say that everybody should come together. And I think that's what the people want. So I'm working on this program that is a replacement. It's re-engineering. I hope I live to see it. But I'll tell you, if I ever needed support from anyone, now is it. Now is it. So I've been canceled. I've written to them. I'm putting together a letter and sending it to them because I really don't want to become the poster child for why diversity should be canceled everywhere. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can't keep sponsoring programming that is illegal and villainizes white people, and competitive victimization doesn't give you the right to say, well, this happened to my people so long ago, it's okay to illegally discriminate against white people. No. Actually, you know how bad it is in this country? Do you realize that 10 times more white people commit suicide in this country than black people? Now, there's only 6 times more white people in the United States than black people, but 10 times more. And what is one of the biggest problems? You lost your job. You were passed over. Your children are being harassed. You're being mocked. And it's all okay because you're white. And when I told that to DEI groups, the universal answer that I've gotten every single time is, well, that's fair. That's okay. Because this was used to happen to black people. No, no. So I'll tell you, if a child is hungry and you're more concerned about the race of that child, you're the racist. If somebody do not misunderstand this, don't play pop psychology here. If someone, only less than half of the people who commit suicide have a mental impairment. Why do people commit suicide? Why did the people who went to Jack Kevorkian commit suicide? Because they had no hope. You take hope from a human being, the distress will kill them, or they'll kill themselves. Hope. When Pandora opened her box of evils and everything came out, the only thing left in that box was hope. It is the most powerful thing that we have. And I'm here to tell you right now, this is that backlash. Now understand, that letter was written and sent to me on January 21st, the exact same day that Trump canceled DEI. And I don't want to cancel diversity. I want it to reform. Okay? So, questions, comments? Now, here's your code for today for HRCI. I would like some of the friends I see out there, to self-submit today's program. I'll find out what you need. I'll send you the agenda or whatever. Self-submit. I can't sponsor HRC or SHRM programs anymore. And I would like to see if they will accept a program that you submit. But this, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I've been a dedicated member of SHRM for, oh my God, 40 years. And now I'm completely canceled because I spoke out. I was a whistleblower and I was right. Johnny Taylor, the president, the CEO of SHRM, even told me that I was right. You are right. But what's SHRM's stance? You don't speak out against your own. No, I don't think and I'll tell you, I want you to think about this. You shouldn't protect your own. You should correct your own. How do we right this ship? How did this story end? I don't know, Holly. It's not looking good for me. And I get calls. I just got a call this week. A dear, dear friend of mine who works for a city here in Columbus gave a warning to a problem person, very well justified. But the person was black. And so the person who was black filed a discrimination charge, and it went to the woke DEI people who are just torturing my friend. And my friend is a Hispanic female attorney. Okay, so what's happening right now? The distress. You understand why distress is worse than smoking? It's the worst thing for your body. The distress, when you're attacked by another human being, is 3 times the cortisol and adrenaline in your body. So what's that do? It inflames your entire body. It inflames your kidneys. It inflames your intestines. It inflames your heart. It will cause neurological dysfunctions. It will cause colitis. It will cause MS. It will cause diabetes. We just discovered this in the last few years. her physical condition is now so bad, it looks like she's going to go on permanent disability, or at least temporary disability. Danielle, my white 23-year-old son brought me emails and notes from his manager. My son wanted to know why his HR said the behavior wasn't harassment. And unfortunately, I had to say it was because he was a young white male. Yeah. You see why that boomerang's coming back the other way? Kathy, my son got called into the office for being a racist. He said, hey, my wife is biracial. I have no problems with blacks. I have a problem with stupidity. He was being stupid. See, he thinks, you see what I'm running into? It isn't just me. And honest to God, I might already be dead. Do you realize that cancel culture is violence? It's worse than smoking. When someone verbally attacks you, you are going to release 3 times the cortisol and adrenaline. It would be better. I'm not kidding. It would be 40% healthier for me to take up smoking and relax.
It's gotten into some trouble.
Huh, Kate? Yeah? It sounded good. Okay, so that's what we're trying to change here at FAIR. But Holly, I'll let you know how it ends. I have no idea. Actually, I will tell you. Senator Moreno from Ohio, United States Senator, just won his seat a year or so ago. He is a member of FAIR. He is a member of Ohio FAIR. So I have appealed to his office to say, this is wrong. This is what's happening. And this is happening to, now you're starting to see why 10 times more white people are committing suicide than blacks. What do I say? No, this shouldn't happen to anybody. This shouldn't happen to anybody. One white person is equal to one black person. One white person should be equal to one black person. Oh, I got a problem with HRCI that says the dates are incorrect. They should be correct. Okay. I will give them a call and find out what's happening. So thank you for that. And let me know. I'm going to send everybody's, or if you want to send me an email that you want to self-submit these to Sherm, I'll go and look and see what you need to submit and I'll get it to you. I'm just really curious if you apply, what will happen. But is everybody with me? Do you see that if I'm dead and gone, if I'm gone, this problem continues. This problem continues. And it isn't just about me. I kept my mouth shut for years. My life had been destroyed for years. I get death threats. And if you are ever in my office, you will see that I have turned my bookcase in front of the window. My desk actually sits in opposite direction now. And the reason for that is just in case a bullet comes through my front window, it'll hit my desk or one of my cats. Yeah, my car's been vandalized because I'm white. And you shouldn't be using the name of George Floyd. You shouldn't be. That's the hate that is out there. And now what's happening to the DEI? That pendulum is coming back to the far, 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 far right. And you got to understand, these pleas to politicians, when someone's committed suicide, I can't believe so much hate in the world. Nydia, yeah, but that is what the human animal is. And I will tell you right now, I'm going to fight as long as I can. But I need your support more than ever before. FAIR needs your support more than ever before. Because if you have children, what's happening to me just about destroyed my life. They could be next. They will be next. Because understand, that pendulum from the right will swing the other way. We can't have that anymore. Questions, comments, deep religious beliefs. Okay, well, I'm going to check into this code here. Thank you so much for coming. And we will see you if you want to come to the planning session for Make Ohio Fair next week. You are more than welcome. You will get a link from me if you have signed up for Ohio Fair. If you have not signed up for Ohio Fair, then just sign up and you'll get the link and you can attend our planning sessions. So We want it to be active. We want it to be informative. We want to have stuff to go and show your companies. Here's an alternative. Here is a better way. And I will tell you, if you belong to an HR chapter, particularly in Ohio, what can you do? You go to that leadership and you say, how come we are still continuing the racist and the illegal programming of HRCI? And what I've discovered is they don't even know it's racist. It's okay to say all white males. All white males are guilty. It's not okay. If I said all black males are guilty, I'd be hung from a tree. It's not okay. And so, yeah, if you want to support me, go to your chapter, because I can tell you right now, there's only one chapter in this entire state who has not canceled me. One, and that's in Chillicothe. You belong to these other chapters? Go ask them, why'd you cancel Scott? Why did you not even talk to Scott? No chapter will even return my calls. Chapters that I helped develop. The state council conference, I've spoken there 20 times. I started speaking there back in the 1990s. Helped build this conference. I've been canceled. And no one will talk to me. That's what human resources is in Ohio. So it's a better life for all of us. Okay. So, and hey, if you want to catch up and give me a buzz, shoot me an email. I would appreciate it. Everybody take
Hey,
care.
Scott.
Yes. Hey, Scott, how are you doing there?
I'm doing good. I was able to submit the HRCI credits. You just need to use the same date, 1/24/124, but it is
Okay.
listed for 3 hours.
3? What? Woohoo! Okay, 3 hours. Woohoo! Okay, you get some bonus points there. Okay, so, yeah. And
Hey,
just to throw
Scott,
out there, yes, please.
thanks for all this. And it hurts my heart that this stuff is happening to you.
Oh,
It's
it's a killer.
it's
Yeah,
not lost on me that all the things you said and all the reasons is why Trump was elected the
yeah.
second time, right?
Mhm.
But I'm not sure that he or the party is the solution to move us in a forward direction.
Yeah.
And I have to look at history and go, how does this clear itself, or does it? Or what kind of movement needs to take place to get us back in a better spot?
You know, Holly, and I've known Holly for so long. I just love Holly. I'll tell you, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm just really passionate. And one of my heroes is Martin Luther King. And we have gotten so far away from Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King has one of the greatest sayings. First of all, he says, silence is betrayal. The people who do not speak up for right and wrong, you're just as guilty as the people who covered up for Jerry Sandusky.
Oh, it was
Just,
not lost on me that the inauguration and Martin Luther King Day were on the same day.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
we were raising the flag for a president who had so much honor and dignity in his life, regardless of how you thought he was as a president, because
Yeah,
of one other person. Like, it just, the irony there was steeped. So
yeah,
I hear you.
yeah. See, I can agree with some of the things that any president is doing, and I can disagree with some of the things that any president is doing, and that's okay. And I will tell you what I have been voicing for 10 years. I've never gone public before. I've never gone public. I have complained to SHRM. I complained to my own local chapter for 18 months, Paraco, which I founded in 1986. When I went to Ohio State Council and told them that this stuff was going on, they laughed at me. Just laughed at me and said, "Oh, those kids." Okay, let's go to brass tacks. This is what you are teaching. And these DEI organizations, they become a cult. If you try to leave, they assassinate you. If you complain internally, they will just ignore you. Just ignore you. So when you go public and you tell everyone as to what is actually happening, They will assassinate you. You will be canceled. Cancel culture is an act of violence. So, yeah, I'm spending more time in my oxygen tent these days to get more fresh oxygen in there. But it's not a brain disorder. I'm looking wherever I can to find hope. And I can tell you, when I don't have any hope anymore, I won't be here. And that's true of every human on the planet. People don't kill themselves. People don't necessarily have all these issues in life because of a mental type of issue. What happens? They have no hope. As long as you have hope, you can live through most anything. But this is what we're getting. And so, no, I'm really reaching out to as many people. Join FAIR, help us with Make Ohio Fair. And you know, I feel like I've joined Scientology, and I don't know Scientology, but I've heard these horrible stories, at least what Leah Remini says. If you try to leave, oh, they'll get you. That is what has happened to me. And I'm not the only one. I know other people who have been canceled. And when you are told by a big DEI organization here in Ohio that we are focusing on racism this year, and that does not include straight white males, we are the enemy. Well, guess what, Holly? We got to get to center, whether liberals are in charge or conservatives are in charge. And that's what I love about FAIR. We are not political. We profess for humans. Now, politics as to how we can influence politicians to make everything fair. I don't want the pendulum to the right or to the left. I want it in the middle. And I've been told by several DEI people that, well, you know, guess what? The pendulum is swinging to the left over here, and it's just your turn. Okay. Tell that to your children. Okay. I kept quiet for years, didn't go public, but I went public in November of 2023, and I exposed everyone as to what they were doing because they would not change. They would not even talk to me. And it continued. The illegal programming of brainwashing HR folks, so they go back and they put these programs in place that basically has put a torpedo in my practice because I'm white. Because I'm white. So don't tell me that you're always in a position of power or privilege because you're white, not if you live in the 21st century in America. And that's why 10 times more white people are killing themselves than blacks. I don't think that should happen to anybody. And so we've got more sessions to talk about things. All this stuff is going to be in that 20-volume packet that I'm working with FAIR. FAIR very likely saved my life. Very likely. I will tell you right now. And I encourage other people to join because that's where I'm getting my hope from. Without hope, you don't exist. And you won't exist. I want to give hope to my children. I want to give hope to your children. I want to give hope to every black child out there. I want to give hope to every Asian child, everybody. Because if they don't have hope, the world will fall apart on us. Okay, so I need your support. FAIR needs your support. Yeah, the best of intentions take you right to hell. And I think we need to educate the DEI people. And don't get me wrong, I have several DEI people that see the light. And they're saying, yeah, this shouldn't hate anybody. I said, yeah, well, we'll see what happens because I just got canceled by SHRM. HRCI was upset that I named names and everything. So what did they do? Well, they set up a meeting with me. And they said, here's what you can do. Here's what you can't do. Okay, that's great. For anything that is approved by HRCI. Okay, that's great. I never got any type of notice or anything at all, and still really don't know what I did to get canceled by SHRM. That is cancel culture, and that is how the world really works. So you can call it inclusion, you can call it belonging, you can call it whatever you want. You change the window dressing, the emperor still doesn't have any clothes on. It's still the same thing. I can call my Volkswagen Passat a Cadillac, but it's still a Volkswagen Passat. I could even go put a little logo on the front that looks like a Cadillac. It's still a Volkswagen Passat. We need real change. So I want to form an army That's what I want. An army of believers who don't stand back. That when we say, hey, we've got to write, we got to send emails to Johnny Taylor, it happens. That was the power of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. And remember what happened to Malcolm X? When he became a whistleblower, they shot and killed him. I would have loved to have seen Malcolm X live another 50 years. He would have been a greater man than he ever was before. But his own people killed him. Why? Because he blew the whistle. He blew the whistle. But you know what? I'm 64. I'm not going to be around that much longer anyway. My sons will be. And honestly, I'm better prepared to fight this fight than they are. So if it kills me, I'm insured. There's the bright side. But I will tell you right now, this is for your life, and this is for your children and grandchildren. How many people you would literally cut off a foot to save your children? Yeah. Serious question. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. That's what I've done. I knew that I would never speak at Hiraco again, the organization that I founded. I didn't know every single HR association in this state and state council and SHRM would come after me. Okay, so probably more than you wanted to hear. Oh, you got to look at the chat. Scott Freehafer is giving us more scripture and more ideas. And let me tell you, even if you're an atheist, which atheism is now the fastest growing religion in the world, that's good practical advice. You don't have to be religious to look at the power of just good advice. And throughout every major religion, the truth of the matter is, you are supposed to treat each other like a brother. We don't do that in DEI, and we've got to start. Everybody with me? Okay, so you're part of the Army now. Congratulations. We don't have guns. We have emails. And I'll tell you, the pen is mightier than the sword, and that is true. These people need to be exposed for what they're doing, because you could be next. And if you sit back and don't say anything, you're just as bad as they are. And I could not do that any longer. I couldn't do it one more day. Thought about it, couldn't do it. Didn't do anything for 25 years. I couldn't do it one more day. Okay, well, I'm sure you all have jobs. I'm sure we all have things to get at. And I cannot tell you how much I just really appreciate you coming. And I print off the chat and I read through them, and that really helps sustain me at 2 or 3 in the morning, because this is an absolute torture. All right. Any last comments from everybody? It's a wonder. We ought to just have a session where we just chat about what is happening in your life. What is happening to your children? That's critical. That's critical. All right. Hey, everybody, you have a great rest of January. I hope to see you sign up for Ohio Fair. We need people. We need strength. And I think we're going to get a lot of good support from Senator Marino. He has already joined us. He's part of us. And Senator Marino, of course, has a direct line to J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States. I don't know if it'll work, but that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. I want it for everyone. So, Scott Freehaver signed up. Everybody else sign up. And don't forget, we've got Legal Update coming on February 7th. And I'll tell you, a big chunk of it is looking at what you could get nailed on. What your DEI people maybe put in good legal policies, but I'll tell you, employers are dropping like flies because of all the things I've been saying about illegal tactics. Even Mark Cuban got nailed for saying what he thought was fair. No, fair for everyone. Okay? All right. Hey, really appreciate you. And we will be talking soon. Hey, take care, everybody.